She was being watched. Lauren Heike. Heike didn't come home. The Arizona sun was just beginning to dip behind the jagged silhouettes of the Phoenix Mountains, casting a golden hue across the desert trail. It was April 28th, 2023, a Friday like any other for 29-year-old Lauren Heike. She loved the desert, the serenity, the solitude, the way the air felt cleaner the moment she stepped away from the road and into the trail. Hiking had always been her escape, a way to clear her head. But on this day, it would become the last walk she ever took. Lauren had moved to Phoenix from Washington just a few months prior, chasing sunshine and a fresh start. Friends described her as vibrant, kind-hearted, and full of energy. Her Instagram feed painted the picture of a life in bloom: hikes, coffee dates, sunsets, and smiles. But beneath that sunny exterior, Lauren had been quietly recovering from a breakup, a new city, and the challenges of building a life on her own. Still, she never lost her optimism. That afternoon, she laced up her sneakers and headed out to a trail she knew well near her home. The Reach 11 Trail, a vast open area in northeast Phoenix known for its desert brush and long winding paths. It should have been a peaceful walk, but at 10:30 a.m. the next day, more than 18 hours later, a hiker stumbled upon something that didn't belong on the quiet trail. A body, face down in the sand, hair matted, clothes torn, motionless. It was Lauren. The 29-year-old had been murdered, stabbed 15 times in what police would later describe as a vicious and targeted attack. The kind of violence that screamed rage, obsession, or something much darker. But the horror didn't stop there. She wasn't found on the main trail. No, Lauren's body had been hidden behind a patch of brush in a secluded area, as if someone had tried to make sure no one would find her right away. What happened to Lauren Heike on that trail? Who wanted to hurt her, and why? And most chilling of all, was she being watched long before she even stepped onto that trail? This is the disturbing true story of a murder that shocked Phoenix, shattered a family, and revealed the terrifying possibility that a killer might stalk the most ordinary moments of our lives. Lauren's life, her last days, and what police found. As news of Lauren Heike's death spread across Phoenix, the community was left in shock. How could something so brutal happen to someone so seemingly ordinary? Someone who had just begun to carve out a life in the sun-drenched desert? Lauren had been a woman of quiet strength, a woman who loved nature, who found solace in the open air, and who was still searching for stability in a city that, for many, felt more like a land of opportunity than a home. Born in Washington, she had recently relocated to Phoenix, hoping for a fresh start after a difficult breakup. She was living on her own in an apartment near the Reach 11 Trail, finding comfort in the simplicity of her routine: morning coffee, afternoon hikes, evenings spent unwinding. Her life, by all accounts, was one of hopeful independence. She wasn't lonely. She had a solid group of friends, a family that cared deeply for her, and a job in marketing that kept her grounded. But in the weeks leading up to her death, she had begun to show signs of unease. Her friends reported that she had been talking more about her fears, about someone watching her, someone who had been leaving strange, cryptic messages on her social media. She didn't take it too seriously at first, but something about the way she spoke about it, her voice trembling, the unease in her eyes, made them wonder. Had Lauren been dealing with something more sinister than she let on? Was someone stalking her, silently lurking in the background, waiting for their moment? The last walk on that fateful Friday, Lauren had set out like she always did, with no sense of dread. Her plan was simple: a quick hike to clear her mind before the weekend. But something, or someone, had other plans. Police later discovered that Lauren had been on her phone during the hike. She sent a few texts and took a couple of photos of the scenery along the trail. The last message she sent was to a friend at 5:25 p.m., confirming plans for the following day. She had no reason to believe that her life was about to be taken from her. What was clear, though, was that someone had been following her. Security footage from nearby businesses would later reveal a chilling piece of evidence: a white truck slowly creeping along the road adjacent to the trail, passing by several times, never speeding up, always lurking in the background. It was the kind of vehicle you wouldn't notice unless you were paying attention. Was it just a coincidence? Or was it the same vehicle that had followed Lauren from the moment she left her apartment? The discovery hours passed, and Lauren did not return. By the time the sun had set, her friends had started to worry. Calls went unanswered, a text left unread. The kind of behavior that immediately signals something is wrong. But it wasn't until the morning hours that panic truly set in. When the hiker stumbled across her body on Saturday morning, the scene was one of horror. Lauren's body was found face down in the dirt, Her limbs splayed out unnaturally. The brutality of the attack was immediately clear, but there was something else. Her body had been hidden, deliberately placed out of view, suggesting the killer had wanted to avoid detection for as long as possible. The desolate desert terrain, a vast and empty place, now felt like a haunting stage for a chilling crime. Forensics would later reveal just how calculated the murder was. The fatal wounds, 15 stab marks in total, were methodical, as if the killer had taken their time. Lauren had fought back, her hands showing defensive wounds, but ultimately, she had succumbed to the violence. The stab wounds weren't random. The killer had chosen specific areas of her body, creating a chilling pattern of precision. The brutality of the act suggested more than a random act of violence. This wasn't a crime of passion. This felt personal. This was something far more terrifying. But the most disturbing part of the crime scene was something the investigators would not discover until later. The killer had taken a piece of Lauren's clothing, a detail so small, but so deeply unsettling. It was a sign, perhaps of a twisted trophy, or perhaps to taunt the victim's loved ones. No one could know for sure, but the clue lingered like a shadow over the case. The investigation begins. Within hours of the discovery, the Phoenix police had launched a full investigation into the murder. Detectives flooded the area around the Reach 11 trail, searching for any sign of who might have done this, scouring security footage from local businesses, and speaking with anyone who might have seen or heard something the night Lauren was killed. But at first, leads were scarce. There were no witnesses, no clear evidence of the killer's identity. And though investigators combed through Lauren's social media accounts, there was little to go on. Her accounts appeared to be the work of an average young woman. No previous threats, no stalkers, no signs of an imminent danger. Then the breakthrough came, a tip that no one expected. The white truck. It was seen lingering near the trail, but it wasn't just any truck. It matched the description of a vehicle seen by a nearby resident who had been out walking their dog the day before. The truck had driven past them several times, the driver always looking straight ahead, never making eye contact, just watching. The police tracked down the vehicle. It was registered to a man named Bradley Carruthers, a 40-year-old Phoenix resident with a criminal history that included a disturbing number of arrests for stalking, harassment, and minor assaults. Carruthers had never been linked to Lauren. She had no known connection to him, but investigators soon learned that his fixation on women was more than just a passing hobby. He had a history of watching women, following them in public, and leaving unsettling notes behind. He was known in the area for his quiet, unassuming demeanor, a man who blended in too well until his darker tendencies emerged. The more police dug into his past, the more chilling the picture became. Carruthers had been known to follow women on hiking trails in the Phoenix area before. He was a predator who had found a way to hide in plain sight. And Lauren, she had unknowingly become his latest obsession. The investigation tightens in the shocking arrest. With Bradley Carruthers now the prime suspect, Phoenix police moved swiftly. This was no longer a random act of violence. They were looking at a man with a troubling history, but tying him to Lauren Heike's murder required more than past behavior. Investigators searched Carruthers' home and background, uncovering a chilling pattern. His computer held disturbing images of women he had stalked, but it was his journal entries that truly unsettled them. In one, he eerily wrote about finding the perfect one. His writings revealed a dark obsession, a need to control and dominate the women he fixated on. He described following them, studying their routines, and waiting for the right moment to strike. It now seemed Lauren had become part of his twisted narrative. Phone records placed Carruthers near the Reach 11 trail the night Lauren died. His phone pinged local towers, and he sent cryptic texts that spoke of the perfect moment and the prize. This wasn't coincidence. Bradley Carruthers wasn't just a stalker, he was a killer. If you want to see part 2, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and type part 2 in the comments section.